Hi, I'm Dr. Bart and I'll be your product management teacher. Today, I want to showcase a very special interview of a student of mine who took the very difficult transition from no product management experience to a product manager while changing a company. I mentored Vanessa throughout this process. I helped her as much as I can, but it was all her hard work that you should follow carefully, see what she did, and based on that, plan out your own transition, which I can help. So, without further ado, let's go to the interview. Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Bart, and as always, I will be your product management teacher. But I have someone very special with me today. Vanessa is someone who approached me in Microsoft back when we were working together and asked me to help her to transition to product management. And the beginning wouldn't be easy for her. She wasn't in a position where she was working with any product manager. She didn't have any experience, and yet she was determined to take this, I think, one of the most difficult transition paths. But wouldn't you know it, she's successful. She did it. And I asked her today to talk to me to see how she did it, what were the key steps, and hopefully teach you guys on how to approach your transitions because, well, it's not easy for anyone. So, hi, Vanessa. Thank you for taking the time. You're a product manager now, so I realize you don't have a lot of time to spare, so that's like double valuable for me. So,
No worries, a pleasure to be here.
so tell us something about yourself.
Okay, so I'm Brazilian, so I'm from Brazil, and I study business in college, but currently I'm living in Ireland, so and now as a PM.
So tell us also, what did you do in Microsoft? What was your role, and how did it happen that you decided to transition to product management?
Okay, so I started Microsoft a while back. Was the beginning of my career since I left college. I started in Brazil, Microsoft Brazil. So there I work in sales, marketing, and then I moved to Ireland, continued Microsoft, and was in operations. And my last job was launching new products and process for the Microsoft resellers. So it's a mix of working with different teams, so finance, compliance, engineering, to make sure we launch globally any product or process. About how I decided to move to PM was actually, I think, in one of my vacations, I was talking to my brother, which is kind of like a mentor, a coach for me. And he was saying, like, what do you think about the PM job? I think it's going to be a good fit because, I remember when I was a kid, you like to create the new things and sell and all of that. So I said, well, okay, I don't know much. So what I did is that I first bought a course in the Udemy. It's become a product manager, how to get a job.
Yeah,
Something
the one from Cole and the other guy, I always forget his name.
yeah,
Yeah, the biggest one.
that one. So that was just for me to really understand what a PM does and see if I really want to transition to that or not, because I've been in operation Microsoft for a while and I thought it would be a good thing to change. So after I saw that course, I was like, okay, this seems really interesting. A lot of creativity, continue to work with different teams, a mix of like working alone, working together. And I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna enjoy this. So I said, yeah, let's try this, let's begin this this journey.
So how did you approach it? Because at least I have like the feeling of from many of my students that they don't really have a plan. They are really confused, and the role is a bit confusing because there isn't like a junior product manager. Usually there are associate junior roles, but they are not easy to get, and they somehow still require product management experience sometimes to get.
Yeah.
So what was your plan and where in that plan and the process did I fit in?
Okay.
Because I don't recall asking you how long did you try before talking to me.
Okay, no, so everything started, I think, when I bought the Udemy course was in August. And I think I probably reached to you around September or October. So after this course, I decided to do two things. So one, I started talking to many people, like my friends, and say, like, do we know any PM or, anyone that, or you are a PM, I want to understand more, because one thing is doing a course, other thing is they understand the day to day. So I got a friend of mine that was like, help me understand. But then I said, I'm a Microsoft, I might as well just trying to understand how things works here. So I remember like look at LinkedIn, trying to find, or even look at the org chart of Microsoft and trying to find, and that was a little bit hard because the product manager role in Microsoft was product manager, and I was like,
We used to be program managers. It was confusing, and people, and fun fact, it's actually product managers now. It's been updated.
Oh, that's good, because I was like, okay, where they are. So I found out with the engineer, and then I found out a girl on LinkedIn that was a product manager, and then she suggested I talk to you because you were a great product manager, you knew a lot, and that's where talking to you was really good as well, because you gave me some tips of like what the actual job is, and how do you deal, how it is at Microsoft, and like what the things I could be doing to get a job, right? And some true facts as well, with the fact that I never had any experience. Maybe Microsoft will be, it's hard to transition internally, right? When you don't have a lot of experience in those big companies, because so many people want. And at the same time that I started my mentorship with you, I also bought a product school course, the product manager certification, just to give me some base, because like I didn't have the experience. Although my job, you could like fit some things there, like code design and pilots, but it's not the same. So I think a mix of like talking to people, like having you as my mentor, watching your videos as well, especially in the part of like where I finished the course and I said, okay, that's it, let's go to the interviews. Like some of your texts, in your blog, or even your videos of how to approach and everything, it really helped. So this was when, by the time I finished the course, was end of November. So December really started to apply. So I was improving my LinkedIn. I was improving my CV. I was preparing for interviews. So the process started there. Yeah.
So actually, this is actually a fascinating story, because people would usually choose one course, and from what I'm hearing, and it's a bit new to me too, because I was just focusing on helping you and not trying to figure out what you did previously. So it seems that you tried the call Mercer. I actually took their course as well before I've done mine, because I always had the impression that what they did is a very good course in terms of like having a textbook approach, explaining what their role is. But I felt like they didn't have a lot of like down to earth advice on how to approach the role, how to actually find the right job, and what to do with like those nitty gritty details. So that was my goal. So the product school is also intriguing for me, because it's a very expensive course, and a lot of people are hesitant to approach it. And I always was wondering how successful it is. And it looks like from your story, I would say that none of the elements alone was the key factor. It was divide and conquer. Something taught you one source taught you one thing, other source taught you other, which is great to hear, because I would hate to know that some, especially given the product school's price range, that it was not optimal. And maybe I'm doing too much interpretation here. Tell me, what do you think was like am I reading this correctly, that this variety and taking different sources, different approaches was the right thing to do? Or do you think, like in the hindsight, that you could uh, invest less time and still be successful?
I think like trying different things like I did, I think was helpful, because the product school, the Udemy one, or even like your course as well, in the Udemy, it gave more an idea of like, okay, what's the job or the basics, right? Just so if I could go to an interview, or if I could go to the job, like I at least knew what was the steps, right? But at the same time, as you go through the interview process and the exercise, it's about your experience and how you approach things as well. So I think if I just had the courses without any experience before, I don't think that would help a lot, because in the end, nobody really in any interview, they're like, oh, you did the product school course, like I don't think it was a major thing. It's more about like my past experience and how I got those past experience and trying to put as a way that this is actually a little bit of the PM, but for me to know that I had to done the course before, or I had to talk with people before, because otherwise I wouldn't know, right? And so I think for a person that has no experience with PM, I think it's a good way just to open your mind and know a little bit more what a PM does and what's the process and everything. So yeah, I think it helped more for you than for like the HR really crossing you out or in, I believe.
So I think I've heard a very important tidbit, which I really liked, is that the most important thing is to grab what you know, grab your experience, and be able to craft that into product management thinking, to present what you did as a product manager, even though you haven't been one.
Exactly. Yeah, I think so. Because like many things that are important for product manager, like communication, clear communication, prioritization, like you probably did in the other jobs, right? But maybe in the other job that wasn't important thing, and maybe you didn't put your LinkedIn, maybe you didn't put your CV, or even an interview don't talk about. But because you know that in a PM job this is so important, so you're gonna make sure you highlight that, right? Because it's something that you went through before, and then like you can do it again. So I think you need to pay attention to those details.
Now that I think about it, I actually can see and hear the difference between when we talked the first time. Like there's more structure, more storytelling to what you're saying. There's more confidence. It's great to have seen how you grow.
Thanks. Yeah. Well, that's the good thing about having a mentor. It's like you make sure you grab from there and move and you improve. So yeah, I'm really grateful to you as well.
So before we move on, I need to say that before I get tons of people asking me to be their mentor too, unfortunately, Vanessa was an exception because I did that as a part of working for Microsoft, where I take up to 2 mentees to help, which are, I already have Vanessa's slot occupied. And unfortunately, with working for Microsoft, caring for my students on LinkedIn and caring for my family, I am simply not able to help other people like I did for you with regular calls, with very detailed attention to make sure that you are in the right mindset, you have your morale up, and you're not that you aren't brought down by something that didn't work out exactly as you wanted. But there are people that will help you, and if you ask me on LinkedIn, I'm surely will type in an answer with a video article, or at least figure out what your next step, just to build expectations here. And with this out of the way, my next question is about your direct road to product management. How was the interview? How many companies did you approach until you land your role? And tell us about the successful
Okay.
recruitment process
Y-
that led you
y-
to your
Okay,
role.
perfect. So first, I decided like which companies I want to apply, right? So I kind of like knew because I hadn't a job as a PM before. I wouldn't go to the big ones, so like Microsoft, Facebook, Google, and all of that. Um, then I say, I never really had the opportunity to work in a startup, a smaller company. And I think that's going to be great for my experience, in my CV, like something completely different, So I was like, okay, I'm going to change job. I'm going to change the structure as well. So I decided to go for the smaller companies. Of course, I had a criteria of which companies I see if they got loads of funding, investments, zero A's company, kind of like that. So they're more, not like one that just started last week. And then I started applying mostly on LinkedIn. I don't remember if I look into other places. I think it was mostly LinkedIn. Oh, of course, like as I search by the startup companies, some I applied direct in their website. Um, of course, some of them, many of them I got, a rejection. They have a better candidate, or that's what they're not expecting. Some invite me for other types of jobs. Well, I was always very clear. No, I want the PM. I don't want something to do with partners or any other kind of business operations role. So and then there was ones that was successfully mean I went through the CV phase, and then I spoke with HR, and actually LinkedIn. I applied for LinkedIn as well, just because with Microsoft LinkedIn, so I said like I might just see how it goes. LinkedIn, I had the opportunity to talk with the manager, but for the one that was successfully, what happens was 4 phases. So one is the meeting with the HR person. Then second, they send me an exercise to be done with two written exercise and 2 cases, 2 exercise. So one was more how we would approach this as a PM if you start in our company. So they gave me an issue there. And the second one was more technical because this was like a PM more for technical, like PM for backend, let's say. Um, they gave me like a few days, like a week to do that. It was funny because it was between Christmas and New Year's.
Mhm.
And but was really good for me because I put, and that's where the course comes as well, right? So I put all the theory and written, at least I had some kind of like structure in everything that I heard as well. So I had those 2 exercises done. Then I passed that phase, and then was a second interview with HR, with the hiring manager. So basically, they asked me more questions about, okay, why you answered this in the exercise, why you approached that way, some competence-based questions and some experiences as well. Passing that one, I went to the fourth phase. That's for me was the hardest one, because it was almost like a full day, starting the morning to the afternoon. The 25 minutes was just like a culture fit, so it was just a talk to for the people in the company, not necessarily the team I was going to work. Just for them to get to know me, I get to know them, conversation open. Um, then the second phase, the second meeting was with the hire manager and 2 designer. So they gave me like the same as the technical problem in written. They uh, make me work with the designers for like 1 hour, to design, okay, how we're going to tackle this issue and everything, like how we're going to work on this. Then basically I have to translate in a third meeting with then the engineer, the developers, what I discussed with the designers. So it was basically like, okay, based on the designers, what we have as an idea, let's build the plan and see if this is going to work. So it was kind of more like, one was more like listen them to talk, and then the other one was more like, okay, what I listen, let's translate this. And then the fourth one was for me to present what we became as a, like, say, draft solution. and what everything, talking about what I learn, what I like, and so we present to other people in the team. That was challenging because I didn't know anything before going to this what they call a company visit. So I have to do everything, as they talk, and taking a lot of notes. And then they gave me some time to build the presentation. So I think that was the one that really defined if I was going to get a job or not, because depend on how I work, how I listen, how I collaborate, and translate the requirements. So yeah, it was a little bit challenging. A full day. In the end, I was really tired, but was worth it because that's how I got the job.
That sounds so awesome. I mean, not every company will like give you a trial run to see how you work. They would talk to you, they would try to understand, but it looks like a great way for a company to find out whether a person without product management experience has what it takes. I'm just about to release a smaller course on the design sprint Google methodology, where you can create a prototype in 5 days. But what they pushed you through is not a design sprint, it's a design 50-meter run. So, and congrats. I mean, that truly validated that you put on the hard work, you knew how to use the tools you've learned, and congratulations once again.
Thank you. Thanks.
Before I let you go to do all those great things again, you've been in the role for what, 1 month, 2 months now?
Yeah, like 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
Yeah.
So tell us, what was the biggest challenge in those 3 weeks, and what would you advise people in a similar situation, their first PM role, to focus on, and what are those like learnings, like fresh out the oven product manager?
So I think for me, the most challenge thing is that for me becoming as a technical person, because I study business, right? And the product I'm seeing the back end part is to really understand how things works, right? Because it's a different, like it is, we basically do payment systems for companies in cryptocurrency so they can receive. So it's a different world of like the cryptocurrency, because I need to learn cryptocurrency, blockchain, but also understand how it works in the back and how the money flows and everything. So that was a little bit, it's still challenging. 3 weeks, I'm sure that there's a lot to know. But like I see people are really nice to explain, to go through. There's a lot of articles. So there's a lot of learning in those 3 weeks. With a little bit, putting, I'm starting like building some specs for the next activity. So yeah, I think it's really understand what the product is, in a sense where I had an experience with cryptocurrency blockchain before, and understand all the text and how the engineering works and everything. So it is a little bit challenging, but I think it's been okay. With help and know who to ask, and reading a lot, and not only the company things, but like what's it outside. There's loads of articles, product manager, or even about the market, or you can learn a lot by searching. So yeah, I think that's it.
Thank you. It's been a blast. I'm really proud that you are where you are, that I could be part of the journey. And again, it's always being a part. I can't say it's because of me, it's because of your hard work. It's because of you looking for the right tools and being able to use them. And I hope that one day you'll come back to Microsoft and we can work on some product together.
I would love that. Yeah, you never know. Thanks for having me here. It's a pleasure. And if we can help someone with that, I'll be super happy as well.
Perfect. And well, have a great day. It's Friday for us, so let's go back to work. And again, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So there you have it. As difficult as it is, as many challenges young aspiring product managers will face, it is possible. It is viable to transition from no PM experience to a product manager. It takes a lot of work. It takes learning from different sources and mentioning the other Udemy course than mine, using product school, it doesn't mean that you all have to take all those courses. No, by any means. You have to find a plan that works for you. But to do that transition, you will have to put in a lot of time, a lot of energy, face few rejections, but it's all worth it. There is success at the end if you are engaged enough, if you really want it, and you are willing to put in the energy and effort. Of course, I'm here to help. Here are my courses on Udemy and Skillshare that will help you with that, how they helped Vanessa. And if you have any questions, reach out to me on LinkedIn. Watch the videos on this channel. There's a Medium blog that collects a lot of information I have to share, and I'll come back to you in the next video next week. See you soon. Bye-bye.